Well, we've enjoyed some really exceptional weather. A little weird, but exceptional weather in the Northeast Mid-Atlantic states. In fact, all the way down into the Southeast. But there are some changes brewing, and we're going to talk about that and so much more. And you'll be astounded. All tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Good evening, Mr. Rayo. Did you have a nice day?
Yes, we did. It was a very nice Sunday, and Monday wasn't too shabby either.
Well, very good. Short, sweet, and to the point. I I spent the day after my morning adventure at the dog park. I had to wash and clean my ankle boot, because when you're wearing it all the time, you got to wash and clean it. And then I played with my brand new Oyster air fryer. We do a collective.
Yes, no, you made.
Oh, yes, this Oyster air fryer air fries everything, especially if you stand still for too long. It has French doors, 3 baking racks, and all sorts of numerous gadgets and utensils. Retail value $149.99 on Amazon. I shameless commercial, but I did play with my air fryer, and I really love it. I made some chicken breasts. Uh, and air fried them with some breadcrumbs and dipped them in egg and breadcrumbs, and oh god, it was so good. They were excellent, really excellent. I I must admit, Tom Contino, as so many people on the chat board worry about me, I'm so happy about that. Thank you for worrying about me. Don't worry about my air conditioning bill. My air conditioning is on. My ceiling fans are on. My AC is set to 70. Um, we have hydroelectric power here, so the translation, it's cheap. Okay, my electric bill last month was $70. So I'm not really too concerned about the electric bill. It really is relative compared to what it is up your way. It's very inexpensive. So, um, but I like to stay cool and comfortable here. Got to 53 this morning, 83 this afternoon, and now I sit and wait to see what I'm going to do the next few days when everybody's burning up around me and whether I'm going to get to 90 or not. I got to believe I'm going to hit 90 on one of these days up here in the hills.
Well, it turned out to be another very nice day here today, and I don't know what our low temperature was, but it was a comfortable sleeping night. Temperature did get up to about 80 or 82 here locally today, and I know we're going to be warming things up in the bullpen over the next few days, and the humidities will be coming up as well. Might even get a little shower activity here later tomorrow into tomorrow night and on into the midweek period on Wednesday. But I tell you, the last couple of days, we it was just gorgeous. So if we have to make payment with a few showers and a bit of a warm up, so be it.
I'm going to put this on the table. Started thinking about this afternoon with regards to what's going to happen over the next couple of days, and I'm starting to wonder. Joe, warm fronts are tricky propositions, especially ones that are going to be moving very slowly, like this one is. And I'm starting to wonder about the possibility where we could get into a situation where there are going to be some clusters of heavier downpours that are going to wind up sitting in a few places, especially on later Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So so thinking along those lines, and then I'll pull it up in a little while. WPC actually has a marginal risk for flash flooding both tomorrow and for Wednesday. For tomorrow, it's mostly the Hudson Valley down to about New York City, and for Wednesday, it's a really fairly large area. I'm a little. I'm thinking that that's possible. Looking at the models, it wouldn't shock me if, there'll be variability in the amount of rainfall and who gets what. But I think it's one of these situations where you get a cluster of downpours and maybe a thunderstorm or two that sits over somebody for a while, and lo and behold, suddenly they've got 2 or 3 inches of rain on the ground, and they got some flash flooding issues. So I just want to kind of put that out on the table, or maybe not so much tomorrow, but I think the second round, Wednesday into Thursday, I think it's possible.
Yeah, the showers will be oriented north-south along that approaching and passing warm front, and yeah, there could very well be localized and convection, maybe a thunderstorm or thunder shower here before the day is over with on Tuesday, and a better shot of that on Wednesday. In fact, marginal risk for severe weather not too far away from us on Wednesday. So as we get deeper into the midweek period, we're going to be seeing a better chance of showery and thundery weather.
Ken Musillo is the first super chat hit of the night. Thank you, Kenneth. Most appreciated. Hope your Father's Day was great. I hope everybody's, those of you who weren't here yesterday, understandably so, with Father's Day, you probably were running around either having a good time or being told to have a good time. If you missed out yesterday, happy Father's Day to all. And by the way, with respect to tomorrow, the next 2 days, I pinned a link up to one of my posts. You can take a look at it. Talks a little bit about where my mindset is at for Tuesday and Wednesday. So on that note, let us now move on. Joe Rea will be concentrating tonight on his radar views, which will be up in the northern plains again, and also a little bit of activity that's going on now in western Pennsylvania. On the satellite loop, I will get up here shortly. Just give me a moment. Just, my mouse is clicking me in all sorts of directions at the moment. Uh, Highly unusual to see something like this, but just think about it. How many times do you see clouds streaming down that we're worried about something coming down from the north? But this is the little area here in Canada that is problematic. And if you look at the flow of the clouds, Joe, you could see the whole trough is very well outlined here. That's along and just off the east coast, and we have basically a northerly flow that's bringing down this short wave, and at the same time, you've got all this heat that is building up in the same place it was last week, with a big upper high centered over the Mississippi Valley. So we're literally sitting on right on that boundary zone. The boundary zone is just to our west, and we're going to run the clouds and rain right along that boundary zone from north to south.
Right, and as you are speaking, I'm bringing up the radar. Now, you wanted to go for the Northern Plains, or you want to look at the Great Lakes?
Well, we can
What?
look at all those fabulous. We can look at all of that. Yeah, we see some blowups of thunderstorms now up in the northern plains that SPC's got the enhanced risk of severe weather for. So I thought maybe we could look at that first, and then you could take a look at those piddly showers that are in western Pennsylvania. Laughs. But there you go. You have control of the board. You are the last correct questioner. Please select.
Okay, well, I'm going to try my best to try to locate some significant. Well, this is MVX here. Do you have anything better than MVX? How about MVX? Yeah, that looks good. That'll suffice or suffice. And as soon as you give me the screen sharing capability, I will
Ah,
bring that up.
hold on and I'll check. One moment. And there you go. It's all yours. You're on the air.
Okay, and so here we are. This view is actually showing you a view from the Dakotas into Minnesota, and you could see that we have some rather distinct areas of heavy duty activity crossing through not far from Fargo, North Dakota, and another band here moving up through northern sections of Minnesota past Duluth, and this activity moving from southwest to northeast. And these are some rather hefty thunderstorm cells, and I do believe that we have some advisories in that area for this activity, don't we, Joe?
Yes, we do. In fact, let me take a look and see what's. Do we have any? There's a couple of. We do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings that are popping up in parts of western South Dakota, actually even in eastern South Dakota. Uh, they're kind of scattered all over the place. One in the west in North Dakota, two in the east in North Dakota, and then a bunch up in northern Minnesota. Uh, SPC. I'm going to just switch back to me for a moment here, so gives you a shot. You can line up the next radar there. SPC tonight.
Well, this area that I have up right now is in enhanced convective activity, or at least that's what the projections are. Mostly, the activity is at its worst. There's a front that's draped across the Dakotas into northern Minnesota, and places to the right or to the east of the front in the warm sector are the places that are most under the gun, so to speak, for severe weather. And interestingly, even though it's enhanced, there are no thunderstorm uh, forecast, no tornado forecasts here,
No,
no tornado watches. It's all severe thunderstorm watches, but still an area that's rather potent for severe storms in this area.
yeah, there are actually one, two, three, four severe thunderstorm watches up at the moment in that general area of enhanced risk. And in fact, actually yesterday the SPC had less than 2% tornado risk. Now they've added a 2 to 5% tornado risk across South Dakota and on up to southeastern North Dakota and northwestern and a good chunk of northwestern and north central Minnesota. Uh, but that was a late add on their part. They as of yesterday they didn't have they had basically focused on just the idea that it would be severe thunderstorms. But you're right. There are no tornado watches up at the moment. It doesn't look like they're going to put any up. I mean, they would have. I think they would have already done so, considering they were all severe thunderstorm watches. Tomorrow and Wednesday and the next day, the risks are marginal. There's a small area of marginal risk from northeast Kansas to southeastern Wisconsin. On the next day, we have a marginal risk that extends from southernmost Illinois northeastward through Indiana and Ohio, western and central Pennsylvania, southwestern New York, right up to about I-81 from Binghamton to let's say I-90 to near Syracuse, and then going west from there. General thunderstorms making it to the eastern flank of that, cuts down I-91 in Connecticut and through eastern Long Island. Kind of shows you sort of the dilemma tomorrow for the forecast is going to be our shower activity is actually going to come down in that sliver between the marginal risk and the eastern flank of the general risk. So there's going to be a sharp eastern cutoff. There's also going to be a sharp western cutoff, Joe. This is like a narrow band, maybe it's 75 to 100 miles wide, that comes down. I think the round that comes for later Wednesday and Wednesday night as the cold front swings eastward, that might be a little bit more widespread in terms of shower and thunderstorm activity. Uh, but between the two of them, certainly wouldn't be a shocker if somebody winds up getting a few inches of rain out of it. Predictability too low as we go from Thursday into Friday, Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. You get the idea. So that takes care of SPC and WPC. Now this was the forecast they had up this morning. So this is the 12Z forecast. So you see how they have that half to 3/4 of an inch and then 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Southern New York, middle and upper Hudson Valley, Northeast PA, Central PA. Then it kind of tails off a bit. Southern New Jersey, down through Virginia into North Carolina. They added that marginal risk. So let's see what they updated this to. And now they've beefed it up, Joe. They've got anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half in a fairly wide area from New England. Now, granted, this covers 7 days, but the two main rain events, the two main days are tomorrow, Wednesday into early Thursday. So for New England down into Virginia, anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half. You see that purple area there in south central PA, which would be an inch and a half or more. I suspect this might get beefed up a little higher when we get a little closer. Just elsewhere in the southwest, substantial rains now being indicated for New Mexico and southern and central Colorado on the order of several inches, which is a big plus. Unfortunately, it doesn't extend to California and Nevada. Gets into eastern Arizona, but at least it's something. This has been ongoing now for the last several days or more. So some areas there in the southwest getting a bit of a break with rain, but everywhere else it's mostly summertime convective stuff, and across the south it really doesn't amount to too much. Now here's what I was talking about here. Here's WPC's forecast. Let me just back up a day. So this is for tomorrow into Wednesday on their excessive rainfall outlook. So see, they've added this marginal risk up and down the Hudson Valley, actually up from northeastern New York all the way down to about New York City, northern New Jersey, northeastern PA. Okay, so a marginal risk is at least 5%. So I kind of say between 5 and 15. And then on Wednesday, they've got a much bigger area. The sharp cutoff is western Connecticut, western Long Island, but all of New Jersey, all of the Hudson Valley, most of southern New York, all of Pennsylvania, virtually all of West Virginia, most of Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, all in that marginal risk. And by the way, they also have a slight risk now that they've added in New Mexico, just to highlight what is going on in the Southwest. So that's good for them. They don't want too much of a good thing, but they sure could use a lot of rain to break the dry conditions.
Even had a little sliver of a marginal risk on the day 3 over Southern California, and they need that more than anybody else, I think, right now. So that's interesting. It seems like the monsoon season has gotten off to a much faster start out in New Mexico and Arizona as opposed to most other years. Usually, it doesn't really start revving up until the end of June and the beginning of July, but it's well in place right now as we get ready to transition over into the official start of summer tomorrow morning at 13 minutes past 5. A lot of you will go to bed tonight in springtime, and when you wake up tomorrow morning, it will be summer.
Yes, it
A
will.
lovely thought.
Yes, it is. All right. So I was looking at some of these models here, the rainfall amounts. I have up the European, which has some patchy areas of 2 to 3 inches. This is through Thursday daytime, so it includes both whatever happens tomorrow and Wednesday to Thursday. We get the purplish, whitish areas. That's basically 2 to 3 inches of rain. And you see those patches there, one in the Hudson Valley to about New York City. Then there's a little less when you go to northern New Jersey, and then it increases again in western and southern New Jersey, then decreases again when you go to Pennsylvania. Now, we could dance around all three. All the models seem to have a different, they all have this rain, but they all seem to have it differently in terms of who's at risk for some higher amounts. For example, the GFS is further east, which it likes to be. So it's got the heaviest rain east of the Hudson. So it's got the 2 to 3 inch plus rainfalls, southern Vermont, western Mass, western half of Connecticut, virtually all of Long Island. And then there's like a little, this is where it gets weird because it's got this what looks like almost a dry slot through New Jersey where it's basically 1/4 to 1/2 an inch, and then it picks up again when you get into eastern Pennsylvania, especially as you get close to I-81 down into Virginia, where you start to get to 3/4 of an inch to 1.25 inches. I personally think when I pulled up the Weather Service's rainfall forecast from earlier today, they are basically going about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in most areas, including areas in upstate New York. I think these numbers are going to, and also down in Maryland and northeastern Virginia and into Pennsylvania. I think these numbers are going to get beefed up. So I'm thinking that they're going to, when these maps get updated on the digital forecast, this was I don't know exactly when they update these or how they update them. I haven't figured out the timing, but this might not be the evening update yet because it's usually a little bit of a lag. But look for these numbers to go up.
And we can't bring in that moisture fast enough. As James Davidson mentions on the chat board, and I did see it on the evening news tonight, Burlington County in New Jersey has a very big wildfire going on right now.
Yes.
Uh, they literally, there are tens of thousands of acres that are on fire. And, you talk about all the stuff that's going on out in the southwestern states. So we can't get that moisture, that showery, rainy weather into the Jersey area. Fast enough to help forest fire to help firemen and firefighters tame that area of brush fire activity again over Burlington County.
Didn't help with all that wind yesterday too.
Oh my goodness! I mean I said that of the 2 weekend days, this would go back to Thursday now. I said, well, it looks like Saturday is going to be a real windy day, and then it'll be just breezy on Sunday. Well, I was wrong there because the breeze, quote unquote, reached gusts generally in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, and that yesterday was not supposed to be much of a windy day. I mean, it was supposed to be a bit of a breezy day, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. And finally, the winds started dropping off quickly after sunset last night. And actually, they dropped off so much that now we have a kind of a stagnant air mass. And over portions of southern New Jersey, Joe, they actually have air quality alerts
Yeah.
up for I guess smaze or smog or high ozone content or whatever. It's amazing. And 24 hours earlier, you wouldn't have had anything close to that because the ventilation, so to speak. So things are really changing very quickly over a span of only 12 to 24-hour period.
I think I think where the error was made was the fact that and you and I were looking at this too. So we were part of this equation. I also figured Saturday would be windier than Sunday. You looked the gradient for this time of year the gradient was tight, but it wasn't that tight. Okay, so I mean, if you just looked at the gradient, you would say, okay, maybe 15 to 20, maybe a few gusts up to about 30. I think what people forgot to look at was the fact that we were dealing with such a very deep, very cold upper air trough, and this is not January or February. This is June. Okay, that upper atmosphere was so out of whack with that really cold air aloft, and you've got the sun at its highest point in the sky delivering all this heating. The mixing must have been amazing, and a lot of that had to mix down, and I think that's what it mixed down to the surface. I think that's what we saw. I think that's the reason why we had winds as gusty as they were, as long as they were. I mean, think about it. They should have had wind advisories up at the end of the day when this is all, looking back on this, they should have put up wind advisories.
Yeah, it was amazing. Again, on average, I think most areas in the tri-state area yesterday in the afternoon reached to 35 mile per hour in gusts, and a few spots approached 40.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Yep. Bill Uber, our second super chat hit of the night. Thanks, Bill. Enjoying the weather, the beautiful weather that has been on Long Island these last couple of days. Take away the wind, of course. And all right, let's.
Also, Leon Probitsky also hitting super chat, and his interesting little icon tonight as I guess a lady. I presume it's a lady with a lot of hair, and she pops up out of a cloud and says, "Hiya." So, hiya, Leon.
All right, let's look at what's going on at short range here and focus on the next couple of days. And I'm going to bring up the upper air of the 18Z GFS. And there's your trough right there, sitting offshore. Here's your upper high, and here's basically your northerly flow coming down from eastern Canada into North Carolina. So it's all hot back through the lower and middle and through the Mississippi Valley. Not so much the humidity levels across most of the South today, especially in the Southeast, were actually still pretty reasonable. And it's still going to take even though the temperatures are going to be going up, the humidity is going to be at least a little bit slow to climb, which is one minor, plus, I suppose. So what's going to be happening? Well, Mr. Trough off the East Coast is trying to move out, but it can't because when we go to the wider shot, I'll show you this. It's actually blocked by another upper high that's out to the east, so it can't go out. So what happens is the upper low cuts off and starts moving southward, uh, east of Cape Cod, and then backs northwestward toward the coast into New England come Thursday. Now, the upside to this, now there is upside to this, and that is by doing so, it does bring us back to a northwest flow come Friday and going into the weekend. So that at least will give us the idea that the weekend will be okay. The worry was that the upper low was going to drop, which is what the GFS was doing. Now it's matched up with the European from today, so that gives me some confidence. But what the GFS was doing was dropping that. If you look down at the bottom part of this trough right here, west of Bermuda, it made another little cutoff there and was trying to sort of back it northwestward toward the coast. The European was doing that a couple of days ago, and then it backed away from this. If this idea that I'm just showing you here were correct, it would put the weekend at risk. But both models seem to be going with the notion that that's not going to be the case, and that we'll get this out of the way, and then we could see improving weather conditions but on Friday. But you could see how we're getting squeezed here because you've got this, the upper high is flattening out into Texas, so at least the heat retreats in the northern areas, but we're getting squeezed in between the two with the upper flow coming around the upper low that's out to our east. It's a bit of a weird setup.
I think this upcoming weekend, Joe, the day that will be good for outdoor activities will be Saturday. It seems to me on Sunday, it looks like the weather is going to be deteriorating, and in fact, before the day is over with, Sunday could turn out to be rather wet.
Well,
With some
we do have another weather front approaching from the west.
yes.
All right. So what do we do with this? Well, here's Mr. GFS for tomorrow. You can watch the rain comes over the top and then drops southward through upstate New York. See where the western edge and the eastern edges are. The other models, some models are further west with the western edge. I think the best approach is to, if you're in eastern PA to southern New England, just expect that there could be some showers, but recognize the fact that it's a narrow east-west spread here. So there'll be a sharp cutoffs on both sides. And by the way, Joe, if you're west of I-81 tomorrow in Pennsylvania, you're going to be in the middle to upper 80s. If you're east of there because of clouds and this rain, at best you're probably going to be in the 70s.
I agree. I agree. And may I use a $5 word here? The dichotomy is so well defined, as you just mentioned, that you can go from extremely warm to rather cool over a span of just a few miles because of where the fronts are going to be setting up over the next day or two.
And then, of course, that goes out, and well, it goes out, and then it suddenly re-blossoms Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night into Thursday morning, uh, producing as a little low forms off the Virginia coast there. The frontal boundary is starting to shift eastward. And again, to me, the danger is that maybe not so much for tomorrow, but when you get into later Wednesday night into Thursday morning here, this is where you could wind up with something sitting on you for a few hours. The GFS is picking up on some heavier precip here and there. Then it starts to gradually pull away as a wave develops offshore and moves out to the east. We see improving weather conditions for Friday. Saturday looks okay. If you believe this, Joe, most of Sunday should be fine until maybe late in the day when a front approaches, assuming that the GFS speed is correct with some showers and thunderstorms. And some of those thunderstorms could be accompanied by strong gusty winds. And then the front if the GFS is right, which we don't know that it is, gets hung up with more showers and thunderstorms on Monday, I tend to think I'm going to take a guess here. I'm going to take a stab that the GFS is rushing it and that the lead stuff is not that important and that it'll be more like Monday that we'll get the heavier showers and storms. And after that, it's another dry high coming in. So it's more the same. The more, remember, folks, the trend is your friend. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And I don't see anything that suggests that it's going to be any different for the rest of this month and going into the beginning of July, unless you disagree with me.
No, I think it pretty much is going to be just that. Here in the Northeast, while I don't think we're going to be seeing the anomalously cool weather that we have just experienced, I think the temperatures are going to be holding pretty close to near normal, maybe slightly below normal, right on through the balance of the month into the beginning of July. And we were touching upon yesterday, Joe, how some of the models were really indicating another surge of unseasonably cool weather with a unusually anomalously strong upper low in our vicinity by the time we get to around July 4th. But
That might still
again,
happen. That might,
that's still though a long
yeah.
ways off.
Don't count it out. That might still happen. You know how things like to repeat when you're locked in a pattern. It may not repeat exactly, but I wouldn't rule it out. Uh, on the wider view, if you look southeast of Newfoundland, there's a big upper high. This is going back. Well, this is for later this week, but that's what's keeping the upper low from moving out. In fact, right now, that upper high is west of the Azores, and it's just not moving. So it's not. You don't always need a block in Greenland. Blocks could be in other places, and that's holding that trough in and forcing it to do what it's doing, because that high won't get out of the way. Now the upper high in Texas flattens a bit, pulls the heat down a little bit further to the south. Then we're still in that northwest flow. Here comes the next short wave. Now, this is for Sunday into Monday. And I'm thinking, Joe, that's not a half bad looking short wave. So maybe Monday might be a severe weather day. And then that goes by. And then here comes the next trough with an upper low for the weekend of for July 2nd, which is Saturday, July 2nd. And then that pulls out. And, you still have rather strong, it's very interesting looking at this. You go north of 35 degrees north, but particularly if you go north of 40 degrees north through this long range period, and in Canada, it's it's a it's a very busy flow up there. I mean, it's actually kind of stormy going up further north in Canada, and we're seeing the result of this because pieces of those systems are breaking and moving southeastward, and they keep trying to carve out troughs in the east. And I looked at the teleconnections today. When I bring up those, I mean, they really didn't change very much. You've got a negative Pacific North America index, troughing in the west, and it goes up to neutral, then goes negative again if after July 1st. If you look at the NAO, it's right at neutral, and it's going to be slightly negative. You got a lot of members though that are strongly negative. You've got a few members that are somewhat positive. But watch the NAO here because this might be the tip off as to whether we're going to get another one of these intrusions like the one we just had. If it's more negative, then it's going to be for more troughing just off the East Coast. We may see the same thing happen all over again.
Well, hopefully, we'll not get out of hand, and hopefully, the next go around isn't too much further to the west because if things were just a little bit more to the west, we could just as well have ended up with and portions of eastern Long Island, and as we saw yesterday, New England ended up with more in the way of cloud cover and more in the way of wet weather in the form of rain and showers. Let's hope that doesn't happen for the 4th of July or around the 4th of July. Maybe this time around, things will be a little bit further to the east and everybody will enjoy the kind of weather that we had yesterday, which was blue sky and bright sunshine. And that continued right into much of the day today.
Yeah.
Brandon Doherty, thank you very much for hitting Super Chats. And he talks about on his icon, Joe, the icon is saying cool.
Yes.
And indeed, that's where we were in the cool sector over the last few days here in the Northeast.
and also where I am in the southeast. Uh, really, I mean, the weather the last couple of days, the last three or 4 days has been just exceptional. It's wonderful to get up in the morning and have temperatures in the upper 40s. I, I never. I mean, I knew it was cooler up here. I just didn't wasn't sure how, and after last summer, I figured it out. But I'm just really enjoying this. I'm really, really enjoying this uh, the cool air intrusions as they're coming in.
And I know that JJ does too. You were talking about that yesterday. That he really takes advantage of the cool weather,
Oh yeah, all
and
the all the dogs. So you can see that the heat takes a toll on the dogs very quickly. After about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, they just don't. In the winter time and in the spring when it's cold out, I mean they could run all day long, and I should know since they tried to kill me. But that being said, in the summer when it gets like this, after about they run around for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then they just all just lay down on the cool sand, and they just they take like a 15-20 minute break and they don't do anything because they get hot very fast. My dog especially, he just does not tolerate heat well. Uh, Bringing him home from the dog parks those warmer days, he basically spent the rest of the day just knotted out. He just had no energy whatsoever. So yeah, they like the cool weather.
Johnny Quest says Canaan Valley in West Virginia, 24 degrees on Sunday morning.
Yep.
On Father's Day morning in late June, 24 degrees in Canaan Valley, West Virginia. Amazing.
Brandon Doherty asked me, do I like being in Georgia? Yeah, I do. Okay. I'm paying 420 for gas. Okay. So that's one plus. Um, Everything is cheaper here for the most part. I mean, obviously, food is not. Everybody's food is expensive wherever you go. Food inflation and all the rest of it. But on the whole, it's a very stress-free existence here. So my answer is an unequivocal yes. My T-shirt says I this the chairman Scott Briller, who's out doing his you know he's doing the hotel circuit on the Jersey Shore with his Briller Jeopardy. Probably going to take it to Vegas next. It says I take weather serious. Serious. Cirrus. Although it's got lightning bolts coming out of the cirrus clouds, which is not meteorologically correct, but um, we're not going to worry about that. The shirt makes its point,
Here's my shirt today, the day after Father's Day.
and that says, what does it say?
Uh, World's greatest dad.
Oh,
Not to
nice.
be not to be confused with number one dad. Now we're talking about a Seinfeld episode.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know what the official rankings are, whatever. So
Any rants today?
no, nothing.
You're not upset about anything? I saw you got some emails from some foreign nationals trying to get you to give them your bank account.
Yeah, well, that's some people fall for that, and this person right here does not. So I just put it up on Facebook saying, it's amazing that a scam like that, but all you need is just one or two dummies to fall for it as out of let's say 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever, and the people who put sent that thing out will
Yeah,
unfortunately
I
get their
just,
money.
I have a very, my overall view of people like that is that they should burn in hell because uh, I, they're targeting elderly people. I mean, they're basically targeting elderly people with a lot of these scams, and sometimes they're so well written. Well, most of them are poorly written though, and you always know when they are because words will be spelt wrong, the grammar's incorrect, and all the rest of it. And then you check the email and it's some ridiculous email address. But they're really doing it to target old people and drain their money. And I mean, those people that do that, really, there's a special place in hell for you. Just remember that, okay? When you die, Um, your train ticket is stamped STH, straight to hell. Oh,
Agreed.
I got a rant in. Yeah, I've got nothing really, I got nothing really to complain about. I'm, playing with my air fryer, so I'm a happy camper. And I'm actually physically feeling good today, which is a big plus. I had a bad day on Saturday, but with my Crohn's issue. But yesterday, and particularly today, I'm really feeling rather settled, which is a good thing. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have things to rant about. I didn't see anything on Facebook that hacked me off, so uh, I will go out calmly and with a smile on my face and not be the old curmudgeon on this Tuesday.
All righty. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps it up for tonight then.
Yep. Hey JJ, you want to go wee wees? JJ, you want to go wee wees? Come on, let's go. Let's go out. He's not moving. He's waiting for me to take my headset off. He knows that if I got the headset on, he's not going out. So I got to take the headset off. All right, folks. Have a great day, rest of your day, which is not much left of it. Check out the post that I put up, pinned the link to at the top of the chat board, and we will see you tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern time.
Yes, we'll be here. Have a good one.
Bye bye.